Hey everybody, this is Craig Garber. Welcome to Everyone Loves Guitar. Man, we've got a great blues guitarist and blues artist with us today. He's come from far away to be with us. We're with Celso Salim, and his name is spelled C-E-L-S-O, but it's pronounced Celso. He's Brazilian. Couple of quick announcements. I want to thank our mutual friend Artur Menezes for connecting us. Thanks a lot, Artur. And also make sure you go to everyonelovesguitar.com/subscribe and subscribe to the show. If you're already watching us on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button below and hit the bell as well. All right, tell a little bit about Celso. As I mentioned, originally from Brazil, he's a blues guitarist whose music has a very strong Chicago blues feel. And in fact, his vocals, when he sings, he sounds like it's a very Chicago vibe, to me anyway. He's one of the busiest and most respected blues artists in Southern California. In Brazil, he built a solid fan base. He released 5 solo albums since 2001, performing at some of Brazil's biggest festivals and venues. He's toured Europe, opened for legendary artist B.B. King, as well as Deep Purple and John Hammond. How was that opening for Deep Purple? That must have been pretty cool.
Yeah, that was great, man. That was a good experience. It was in Brasilia, in Brazil.
Oh, wow.
Yes, and it actually was not with my band. It was my friend's band. He had a band called Rock and Roll Circus, and I joined them when they did the opening. So that was fun.
Did you get to hang out with Steve Morse?
Not with Steve, because I don't know why the band, they were not very friendly that day.
Really?
We didn't meet them or anything. They didn't want to talk to anybody. But I met Steve Morse's guitar tech. Great guy, man.
That's cool. I had Steve on the show. I can honestly tell you he's one of the nicest, kindest human beings. That must have been an off day. I mean,
no, I completely. I heard he's very nice, but I think Ian Gillan wasn't feeling well, and they I don't know, they kind of just wanted to get it done.
Yeah, I hear you. I actually have Ian Pace coming on the show this week.
Oh, really? Nice.
Yeah, so I'm interested. I'm looking forward to that. Celso's also toured with bluesman Larry McCray, and he's performed with blues legends Magic Slim and Willie Big Eye Smith, which is Muddy Waters' drummer. Since he relocated to Los Angeles in 2014, the Celso Salim Band has won the Southern California Blues Society Battle of the Bands twice, and they were semifinalists at the International Blues Challenge in Memphis in 2018. And they also received 2 awards in the 2019 International Blues Challenge. The band has also won 5 independent music awards, and their last album, which is called To the End of Time, received great reviews from major publications here in the States and around the world. He's opened for Joe Bonamassa, Canned Heat, Kim Wilson, and Larry McCray, performing at large venues all over Southern California. Dude, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you coming on the show.
Oh, great to be here. Thanks for having me, Craig.
My pleasure. Man, you started playing blues. You started playing guitar at 6.
Yeah.
But once you heard the blues at age 12, something clicked and you knew that's what you wanted to do for a living. How did you get started at 6? That's so young. And what was so compelling about the blues once you heard it?
Yeah, of course, I was 6. I don't remember the exact cause. But I know my mom saw me getting really excited when I was watching other people play. So she bought me an acoustic nylon guitar. I started playing, but I didn't know exactly what I wanted to play. So I was just like learning like whatever was playing in the radio at the time. But then when I was around 11 or 12, I started taking lessons with this guy called Eduardo, and he's a Berkeley graduate, so he lived in the States for a long time, and he had all these LPs, old records, blues. So once I heard the blues for the first time, I knew that was it.
Very cool. What about it moved you?
Man, it's hard to explain, It's just I don't know. I think the first contact I really had with the blues, although it's not a real blues song or a blues artist, but when I was 6, my dad's friend gave me a tape, and one of the sides, cassette tape, one of the sides was Supertramp. And the song that I liked the most was Bloody Well Right.
That's
That song, it's got a great blues intro, you know, the piano, and that always, like, I was like, oh my God, this is great, but I didn't really know. But then when I heard the blues, like the traditional blues, I just went nuts. I said, oh man, I want to play that. You know, it's hard to explain exactly why, but
that's cool. I know that song. I don't know the intro off the top of my head. It's been a long time since I heard it. I'm gonna have to go check it out. I do know the song very well.
Yeah, it's a great song. I'd love to do a cover one day.
Do it, man. That's a good. Yeah, that's like a tribute to your to the song that got you started. That's a good idea, actually.
Yeah. One day I'll do it.
So you moved to the States, if my info is correct, when you were 17?
Yeah, first time.
What prompted that move, and where did you move to?
Well, I moved to LA too. I went to the Musicians Institute.
Okay.
So I was 17. I had just finished high school, and I came to study music. That's why I came, and I spent 3 years here in LA.
Your teacher was from Berkeley. What made you go to MI instead of Berkeley?
Because Berkeley is like a full college, you know.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And MI is more loose. It had like a technical program. It was more like a 2-year thing.
Gotcha.
So it was a better fit for me.
Totally get it. So did you speak English at the time?
I did.
How did you studied English when you were in Brazil?
No, I did study because since I started learning blues, I used to get all the words to the songs and learn them as well. I was very interested in learning the words and know what the other guys were talking about. So back then we didn't have Google to Google all the words. So I would spend time with Eduardo, my teacher. He had a very good English. So at the end of every lesson, I would go, hey man, can you write these words for me? And he'd go, okay. And he'd write one word. And so I started learning like that a lot. But I lived in Canada when I was 5.
Okay.
So with my mother, and that must help something, you know, because somehow I started to speak English back then. Then I went back to Brazil. Probably helped.
Yeah, definitely. Because Brazil to English is not an easy.
No,
you know, it's not like Spanish to English. I mean, Portuguese to English is obviously much harder than like Spanish to English, you know?
Yeah, the thing is, we as a country, we are very influenced by American culture, you know?
Yeah.
So we listen a lot of songs in English, you know, it's in the radio, rock and roll, and all the Beatles, Stones. It's in Brazil too. So it's probably easier for us to learn English than to an American to learn Portuguese.
Oh, hell yeah. Trust me on that, man. So once you came over here, was there any like cultural adjustments that you had to make, or just the way things work that were so different?
When I first came here, it was all good. You know, I was studying, so just going to school and going back to study, and I didn't have many problems. Of course, you have some things that runs different, you know. You got to adapt, but it was not a big deal.
That's cool. Very cool, man. Okay, so after MI, you spent an extra year here, it sounds like, after you got your degree? Or
Sorry?
after you finished MI, did you spend another year here, or you took the classes in 3 years and then you left?
Actually, the classes they lasted 2 years and a half.
Okay.
And then I spent like 6 months more here, and then I went back to Brazil.
What made you go back?
Oh, well, my visa expired. I didn't. I was really young too, you know, and I had to find a way to get a visa here and everything. So I ended up going back, you know.
Okay, so the plan was always to come back once you figured out how you can get here.
Yeah, kind of, yeah. Yeah. One thing is to I had a scholarship from the Brazilian government to study at MI, and one
Okay.
of the deals is actually I had to come back. You know.
Oh, to get to guarantee that. Yeah. Okay. So they wouldn't come after you for the scholarship.
Yeah, it's for a while. So I went back, but I
Oh,
always to return. So here I am again.
right on, man. Yeah, that's a no-brainer, man. You go back, you don't have to pay that money back.
Yeah.
Okay, so once you got back to Brazil, is that when you started like establishing yourself as an artist?
Yes, I recorded my first album here. I had a friend of mine which sings with me today, Rafael Cury.
Mm-hmm.
He was also studying at MI, and he was doing sound engineering.
Okay.
So he had to all these hours in a great studio at MI, and he needed an artist to record. And then that's when my first album was created back in '99.
While you were here?
I was here, and then I went back to Brazil with the album already recorded. So when I released my album there, that was my first album I released in 2001.
That's pretty. What made you decide that you wanted to be an artist instead of a sideman?
Man, I think life led me there somehow. I would love to be part of a band and play. I still am, actually. Sometimes people say, "Oh, he's a solo artist," but I wouldn't mind at all joining
a band
and playing with someone else. But I don't know. Life led me there. I had songs. I had some songs, and I want to record. And so when I went back to Brazil, it seemed right to release an album and start like a career, like a solo career.
Is it tough to get like traction when you release a record? Like, how do you go about? I'm sure it's no different than here. How did you go about starting to promote the record and get gigs and stuff like that?
Well, you just got to start. You release the album. I did like a show, which back then I used to hand flyers myself around the city. Hey, go to my show, this and that. And then I think I created a good name, a good brand in Brasilia, my hometown. And so from there we developed.
That's very cool, man. What point did you then decide you came back to LA in 2014? What prompted that? And then how did you get things launched here? Because that's not easy.
Yeah. I always wanted to come back here. It took me a while, but finally in 2014, I was able to come back. One thing that helped is that I already had 5 albums released, and I had some media, some press already, stuff like that. That kind of helped me. But when I moved back here, it's kind of a new start as well. So I gotta come here and start playing gigs for free just to showcase,
Yeah.
So I did all that, and then I started playing more and more here, and I had friends here. I moved back to LA because I already knew some people,
Okay.
So this guy called Daryl Carrier, he's a harmonic player and singer. We had a band back in the day when I was here, and then came back here, started playing with him again. So I do some gigs with him, and then start meeting new people and playing around.
That's cool. Okay, go back to Brazil. You grew up in Brasilia. What kind of town is that? That's a pretty big town, right?
Yeah, 3 million people now.
So it's not a town; it's a city. It's a major city, then.
Yeah, it's the capital. It's a great city. Yeah, it's a crazy city because this city was built in the 50s.
Mm-hmm.
They decided to move the capital for Brazil to the middle of the country. So this great architect, Oscar Niemeyer, he planned the city and they built the city. And people from all around the country moved there, and my mom was one of these people too that went there in the 70s. And it was great. It's a great city. It's just different. Some people say it's weird because it's a planned city, so the corners are different. They don't look like a normal city. But there's a lot of green. Yeah, it's very interesting.
Is it different? What's another big city in Brazil?
We got São Paulo, Rio.
Okay, so São Paulo or Rio, how is it different? Like just architecture or
completely different. The way that they set up the streets and everything is completely different. Like in Rio and São Paulo, people joke that Brasilia have no corners. In Rio and São Paulo, it's normal, like any city in the States, you know, or New York, wherever.
That's funny.
But Brasilia was all made in the central part of Brasilia. In the beginning, there were no traffic lights, basically.
No, how do you?
Like if you're gonna make a left, you got to go around like this, around, and you make
a roundabout.
Bunch of roundabouts everywhere, you know.
That's weird. In Brazil, I only knew they had those like in England.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they're all over England.
Yeah, so that it's crazy. Now that the city grew a lot, they had to put some traffic lights in some place and everything. But the idea of the city was you could go around without stopping one traffic light. Basically.
That's really cool if it could do that.
All the roundabouts, you know, and stop signs. That's
really cool. I have a hard time. They don't have too many of those, as you know, here in the States. And whenever I see one, I'm like, holy shit, what do I do? If my wife's with me, I just look at her because she's from England and she's like, you know, do this or that. But I never know. It's really weird.
Yeah.
What was growing up there like for you?
Growing up there?
Yeah. What was your childhood like growing up?
It was great. I had so many friends, and I lived in a large street with only houses. So we used to play on the street. So I grew up old school, you know, playing in the streets, hide and seek, and you know, like a bunch of friends. It was really fun, you know.
That's funny when you say old school. I know nobody goes out anymore, man. It's really
even in my street in Brazil, my mom still lives there. Back in the day, kids on the street, there was like 20 kids playing together. Now it's like nobody in the streets.
I know, because of this.
Yes.
Yeah, it's funny because we have a bunch. The kids will ride bikes, but nobody's hanging out.
Yeah.
You know, like being a kid. It's weird.
Yeah, it is.
What kind of work did your parents do?
Both of my parents, they are sociologists.
Really?
Yeah.
That's really interesting, man.
Yeah, they are divorced since I was 5 or 6 years old, but they're from the same field.
That's interesting. So sociology is the study of how people behave in groups, right?
Yeah.
I remember because I took sociology in high school or something, and I really found it interesting about like the one thing I remember, how people's individual sense of responsibility drops when they're in a group.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So they said like, okay, so if you or I are walking down the street and we see somebody who needs help and we're alone, we're much more likely to stop. But if you got a crowd of 7 or 8 people, your sense of responsibility gets surrendered to the group. So it's like that's what I just found that really fascinating. You know, that study. That's pretty cool, man.
It's definitely interesting.
Yeah, really interesting. So let me ask you a question. A lot of blues artists are attracted to the blues because there's like a part of them that blues music is, as you know, very, very healing. Right?
Yeah.
Was there any part of that for you? Like there was this attraction that helped you heal something in you?
Well, now that I never really thought about it, but now thinking back, probably the divorce of my parents.
Yeah, that makes sense.
When I was really young, I was like 6, you know. So it was kind of hard, you know, discussions and stuff about like that. And so music was always like my escape, you know.
Yeah. It's funny you say that. I had a guest on yesterday, and he said this, his parents got divorced when he was 5, and he said music was a big healer for him as well.
Yeah, no, for sure, man, for sure. Definitely, because I used to get my guitar and go to my corner and forget about life, you know?
Yeah, I'm sure, man. That's a tough shit to handle. Tell me 1 or 2 things that you've done over your career that were out of your comfort zone at the time, but you went and did them anyway, and it turned into be a positive thing for you.
I don't know, man. Let me see. It's hard to think of something. I mean, maybe small things, like small gigs that I did, whatever, you know. No, I'm really, I think I'm open to new experience. I'm not like a blues guy that like, I want to play only traditional blues, whatever. So yeah, back in Brazil, people from friends that used to play Brazilian music would invite me, hey, you want to do this country thing over at this Brazil? Because some people don't know, but like some Brazilian rhythms, they match really good with blues and country music.
That's interesting, man.
So I love some country too. So I went there and played like banjo in the with the band, you know, like stuff that it's kind of out of my comfort zone, but was really rewarding.
That's cool, man. That's really cool. I watched a bunch of videos of you, and I noticed you play with a thumb pick.
Yeah.
Have you always done that? How did you get in that?
Man, I got into thumb pick because when I started listening to the blues, a lot of the guys used thumb pick. Because the Muddy Waters, Robert Johnson, Freddie King.
Yeah, he was a monster, man.
Johnny Winter. I was such a big fan of Johnny too, and so I said, man, I gotta try the thumb pick.
So you learned that after you knew how to play already?
Yeah, when I played only acoustic guitar, I didn't even use a pick. You know, I was learning like chords. But then I started to learn guitar, and I moved to the pick, and then soon I changed to the thumb pick.
Was that hard?
Not, I mean, you gotta adapt. You know, like some things you gotta adapt because the way if you want a flat pick with a thumb pick, you know, or you can do it, but it's just a little stiff. So you gotta like learn the way around the string.
Yeah.
But when you're young, man, you learn things so fast.
Yeah, that is true. But it's hard to change style. It's like almost going, if you're playing baseball, you're a right-handed batter, and all of a sudden you switch to lefty. It's a lot of mechanics.
No, yeah, but I started young, you know. I think when I was 14, I was already playing the thumb pick.
Oh, wow. Okay. It's always fascinating to watch people like you, because I don't know how the hell you do it, but it's really cool to watch, especially like you're very competent, you're moving, you have great tone, and you play a bunch of guitars, and it's always fascinating to watch. It's exciting, because I wish I knew how to do it. It's like a secret. Let's talk about your guitars. I've seen you play. All your guitars are very cool. What's your like number one, and what other 2 or 3 would round out your top?
Well, I mean, I'm still looking for guitars. You know, you know what I mean? Like still, right now I've been using the SG a lot, and the Les Paul. Yeah, and in the Paul, like I got a Les Paul Deluxe.
Yep.
And I've been using that and the SG, and probably like the third one is my Telly.
Yeah, I haven't seen you play the SG in the videos. I saw you playing the Telly, and I saw you playing the Les Paul a lot.
I bought the SG recently. It's a P90s SG. I really like the sound, and I've been playing a lot. But I like using different guitars because I play slide, and one might be in open D, and then the other one in open G. Different tunings.
Sure.
So I always bring 2 or 3 guitars to this show. And
what do you play through, both in the studio and live?
Amp?
Yes. Sorry.
Yeah. Right now I'm playing Fender Deluxe.
Old one?
Not old, but it's a 65 reissue.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I was playing before that a vibro verb,
Yeah.
which was very nice too. So I'm still trying to, you know, getting some new sounds. One day I'll buy an old one.
I know. Yeah, they're so expensive, man.
They're very expensive. That's why I don't
And
have one.
you don't use a ton of effects. You're pretty much straight into your amp and just maybe like a little bit distortion or something. Not even that. I just using your amp, right?
Yeah, I use I use like a little drive, you know, live. But when I record in the studio, I don't use pedals for distortion. I just crank the amp, you know. But
Yeah.
when I play live, sometimes it's hard to crank the amp like all the way up. So you gotta have a little pedal, you know, just to. But I use the wah
Yeah.
pedal, which I love it. And sometimes a like a Leslie simulator kind of pad. I like those two.
Yeah, those sound great, man. I love them. Any interesting stories how you acquired any of your guitars?
Well, there's a when I was back in MI in 1999,
Mm-hmm.
I was graduating and I got an award for best student.
Really? That's pretty impressive, man.
No, thank you, man.
Yeah, it's not like there's a lot of great players there, man.
Yeah, it was great. And then on stage, you know, like Scott Henderson gave me this guitar, you know, as the award, you know.
What was it?
It was a very different guitar. It was an ESP
Mm-hmm.
12 string.
Okay.
I can't even find the model anymore. But it's kind of sad what happened to this guitar.
What happened to it?
I went back to Brazil and I had this guitar. It's a 12 string. I don't use it much, right?
Sure.
But so I put it to sale. I had my friend. He had this little store. I put it there for sale, and then this guy he passed away. So I lost my guitar.
Oh my God.
Because it was this little shop. He took care of everything. He passed away. I tried to retrieve my guitars, and it was sold, but nobody knew who got the money. So I'd be like all over his family, hey, give me my guitar. The guy was dead.
Yeah, yeah.
I let it go, you know.
That's kind of weird that they give you such an obscure, like the guitar school, to be honest with you. It's like, it's nice to get that award. Then they give you this obscure guitar that,
yeah, it's
you know, that doesn't make any sense, man.
Yeah, it's funny because there was some other awards like 6 months prior to me. They got like Strats and Tellys. And I got this one. I'm like, what the fuck?
I know, man. Like they give you, you know, once in your 30-year career, you'll be able to use it. You know, it's just not, that's weird, man.
It was a very good guitar, but I couldn't really use it, you know.
Yeah, it's not practical. A 12-string ESP. Yeah, that's weird.
At some point, I put 6 strings in it, and I used for a slide, you know.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
For a while, but it's like weird, huge neck, you know. It's like
that is weird, man. What's the best amp and best guitar you've ever owned or played?
Probably that I played, because right now I'm recording. When I record my last album, Mama's Hometown,
Mm-hmm.
I use my bass player's studio, and he has a bunch of amps. He has an old deluxe.
Oh, cool.
So the old deluxe that I'm using there is like a 65. That's a great amp, you know. So that's one of the best I played.
Mm.
But I like other brands, you know, like old Marshalls. When I had a chance to play one, you know, it's hard to find them, but yeah, great sound too.
Dude, I don't know if you could see this. I got this just a short while ago.
Oh, nice, man.
It sounds so good. I really was blown away what a jump up, because I was really happy with my regular amp, which is a PV, but I couldn't believe the you know, the expansion of tones that you get. It was really good experience. What was the first album you ever purchased?
I think the first album I purchased, it's hard to remember way back, but probably it's a Brazilian artist called Raul Seixas. He's a rock artist from Brazil, and very talented guy. And before I started learning the blues, I was into his stuff. That's what was probably. But the first blues album that I bought, I think it was 2 albums. One was Magic Slim.
Okay.
And the other one was B.B. King live at Cook County Jail.
I like that one better than live at the Regal, to be honest with you.
Me too.
Yeah.
For me, one of the best B.B. King live albums, man.
Yeah.
So
really good record. Hey, spell was it Raul Seixas? I want to check him out. How do you spell that?
It's Raul.
Oh, Raul. Yep.
Raul, R-A-U-L.
Yep.
Seixas is S-E-I-X-A-S. Seixas.
Okay. Thank you, man. I'm going to check him out.
Yeah.
And give me your top 3 Desert Island discs, just for right now.
Desert Island. Man, this is so hard, but I would probably take a Muddy Waters album, you know. Some old country blues guy, could be Robert Johnson or Blind Willie McTell. And I don't know, man. It's so hard. Maybe I'll take a Jimi Hendrix album.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Tell me what's the Brazilian food you miss the most?
Man, I miss Brazilian food, but I'm a cook.
Oh, are you really? Okay.
Yeah. So me and my wife, we cook a lot. So there's some stuff we can make it here very well. So we don't miss those. But I mean, I miss a lot of other kind of foods, you know. Even barbecue. I'm a meat guy. So
yeah, I love barbecue.
The Brazilian barbecue is great, you know.
It's really good.
Other dishes that we have in Brazil, like muqueca. It's like a fish stew, kind of stew. And some others, you know. Feijoada, which is the black bean dish from Brazil.
God, that sounds delicious, man.
Yeah.
When I visited a buddy of mine in San Diego a while back. He took me to this Brazilian steakhouse. Honestly, man, it was the best food I've ever eaten in my life.
Yeah, it's great.
I'm not a guy that eats like all you could eat stuff, but oh my God, the meat was so amazing, man. Oh,
yeah.
It's just so awesome. Do you have a favorite American food?
Man, I like. I mean, in Brazil we eat American food, you know.
Okay.
And burgers and pizza, whatever, you know.
Sure.
But here we find great burger places and stuff like that. So burgers are great. And but then I went to Memphis, you know, and then
what'd you have there, man?
There's some really great food, you know, and ribs.
Yeah, I love ribs, man.
Really ribs great. I don't like the dry ones though. I like they have the dry ribs and the
wet slop. Yeah, I like the dry ones.
Yeah, you like the dry ones?
Yeah, and you like them with sauce.
Yeah, maybe I gotta find the right place for the dry ones.
I just I like salt, and the dry tends to be salty. The sauce, it's delicious. It's just sweet though. It's just not my thing. I'm more of a salt guy.
It's different.
Yeah, I crave salt.
Yeah, it's completely different from Brazilian barbecue. We only use salt in Brazilian barbecue, basically. You know?
That's why I love it. Let me ask you this: do you know this as a chef? Why do people I crave salt? Why do people? Do you know why?
Salt, man, I like salt too. So
I know it's but I'll eat things that I notice. I'll eat a lot of ketchup, and I think I like ketchup because there's a lot of salt in there.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you're addicted. I think it brings the flavor of the food out, you know.
Yeah. The salt, peanuts, anything, man. I love salt. Tell me the best decision you ever made.
Oh. I mean, it was not like a conscious decision, but it was probably when I decided that I wanted to study music, you know, instead of finishing high school and trying to do college and I'm glad my parents supported me, you know.
Yeah, that's really cool. Do you get to go back? I mean, I know now you can't with COVID, but do you go back regularly, or do they come here and visit you?
Man, it's been 5 years since I've been to Brazil.
Oh,
And
wow.
I had a tour planned this year, so I had to cancel.
Oh, man. Your mom must have been like so upset.
Next month, I had like a great show there in a festival and other stuff, but then I had to cancel, unfortunately. So it's been 5 years. But my mom came here, my sister came here to visit. So
Oh, that's cool.
5 years, I miss him. So
Yeah, I believe that. What is the situation over there? Like, how does the, because I know there's a really high level of poverty there, man. How does is the government like helping? What is it like over there? I'm curious.
yeah, I mean, in the past, let's say 15 years, we had a leftist government there that really took care of the poor people, you know, and brought a lot of people from poverty up, you know. So it was a good thing. But then in 2013, 14, there was a big crisis worldwide and really affected Brazil as well. And then we started having a lot of political problems, you know, like here,
Yeah.
left, right. So they impeached the president, and then Brazil went down the drain, you know. And so a lot of things that we conquered, like for the more vulnerable people, they were lost. And now unemployment's going crazy, not because of COVID. It was already going up.
Oh.
And now with COVID, it's even worse. You know?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's sad, you know. So a lot of people are back to poverty, and it's a country of contradictions. You know, if you go to Rio,
Yeah.
you see some places you look and you go, oh my God, the city is so beautiful. But if you go around the city, so many favelas and like no sewer or no, you know what I mean? Like no clean. It's crazy sad, you know.
You know, I told you a while ago, I had Andreas Kieser on the show, and he told me that's why they started Sepultura, because he said they were sick of everybody coming to Rio and thinking, oh, this beautiful, and he used it, music, as a platform for activism, to say, hey, man, this is not what the country is like. You're seeing, you know, sunshine and roses, but this is a lot of shit here.
Oh yeah, because that's what they sell. You know, they're trying to create an image outside. And I mean, don't get me wrong; it's a beautiful, amazing country. The people are great. You know, it's amazing. But we have a lot of inequalities. You know.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. That's sad, man. I hate to see that, especially with this COVID shit, man.
Yeah, now it's we got a president that denies the disease and everything. So. We're not good, not a good shape.
That's like denying that the sun sets. You know, I don't really get any of that stuff. Like,
yeah, it's also a political game, you know.
I hate that, man. hey, what? Switch gears, man. Tell me what makes you happy.
Happy. Well, makes me happy. Friends and playing music, family, my wife.
Very cool, man. Tough question. Tell me, what do you like most about yourself?
Myself?
Yeah, it's a tough question.
That's a tough question, man. I don't know. I try to stay to be humble, you know, and I try, you know.
Happiest moment or happiest time in your life?
Man, I always had a good life, you know, so I can complain. Not many, like, so I had many happy moments in my life. Usually, maybe the happiest ones is playing music, you know.
Sure, man. What's the best musical experience you've had?
Well, I think playing like big festivals, blues festivals in Brazil was really great experience. You know, we got a lot of feedback, and it's probably the highlights, the festivals that I played.
And when you guys play a festival there, it's not 5,000 people, right? It's like,
yeah, some are bigger. Yeah, some are big.
It's pretty big from what I
Yeah.
understand, the festivals there, man. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Do you have any non-musical superpowers?
I guess cooking.
Yeah, man, now you're making me hungry, man. And I am not a cook. That's pretty cool. What is your favorite dish to cook, man?
Well, I do some Brazilian dishes, which in Brazil, we borrow a lot of food from other places and we make it our own too,
Mm-hmm.
So I make regular Brazilian food like rice and beans, which are like we have every day on our table. Like in Brazil, we got beans and rice and some kind of meat. So that's like traditional.
Yeah.
But I like to make pastas as well, like seafood pasta or some Italian stuff too, carbonara.
Dude, I'm seeing a plan B, cooking with Celso.
Yeah, let's
I could see this, man. And you could have like your music playing in the back. And then while COVID's going on, cooking with Celso, I'm feeling that, man.
Yeah,
for sure. Outside of cooking, is there any other hobbies that you have or interests outside of music?
No, I like soccer. I haven't been watching soccer now because I'm here and I don't have access to the games or anything. But back in Brazil, I used to watch, with friends. It's fun.
Are they playing soccer now?
Now I think that they resumed the champ. I think they went back now, like a couple of weeks ago, maybe.
Do they have
time? But they are still doing it.
Do they have people in the stadium?
No.
Yeah, because I just saw a little blurb that baseball's getting ready to start, but they're not going to have anybody in the stadium. How weird is that?
Yeah, they're doing that in Brazil. I think they're doing that in Europe too, like in the German championship or wherever. They're also doing games with no audience.
That whole thing is weird. I wonder how that's going to shake out after. And people love going to sporting events, though, man. That's
yeah.
I can't see that changing, man.
Yeah, and this kind of events, as together with concerts, the most affected by the COVID. It's going to be a long time since until we.
I hope not. I
hope not. I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah,
but
I know.
Keeping it real,
No, I every day you read like now the thing is they're expecting 2021 or 2022. I saw, so it's like holy shit, man. God, I hope that's not what it looks like.
Yeah, man, me too.
Have you traveled a lot through your music?
I traveled some, in Brazil, I traveled a lot all around the country. I also had, I did a Europe tour.
Oh, cool.
2012, that was with an artist from Brazil called Ari Borger.
Okay.
This guy is great. He's a great Hammond and piano player.
What's his name? Ari Borger, B-O-R?
B-O-R-G-E-R.
Ari Borger. So you were a sideman with him?
Oh, yeah. After a few years in Brazil, I started playing with other people because I lived in Brasilia. And in 2004, I moved to São Paulo.
Oh, okay.
So when I moved to São Paulo, I started playing as a sideman with Ari and also with Sergio Duarte. Okay. Sergio is a harmonica player, great player too. Sergio Duarte.
And these guys are they're blues artists? Yeah,
Sergio is a blues artist, but Ari is a blues-based artist, but his music is it's like instrumental. It's kind of like funky jazz, kind of like Jimmy Smith or...
Oh, yeah.
It's like Jimmy Smith meets Pine Top Perkins and Professor Long Hair. He's got a lot of New Orleans.
You have such a deep vocabulary for that original, really hardcore blues guys, man. It's amazing. Yeah, it's really impressive.
Thank you.
Tell me about a specific experience you had that changed your life or changed the way you think about things.
Well, I don't know if you want to put this on the interview, but it's probably when I smoked weed for the first time.
Really? When was that? If you're comfortable saying, that is really funny.
Yeah, I was really young, man. I was like 15 or 16.
That's like ancient for here in the States.
Yeah.
And here in the States, it's like 9 or 10 or 12 or something like that. I got to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Really? So you still remember smoking weed for the first time?
Yeah, for sure, man. It's like opened my mind, you know, and I don't think I saw things the same after this experience, you know.
Really? That's so interesting. That's you know what? I've had close to 750 interviews. I think you're the first person that's given that as an answer. That's really interesting.
Really, yeah.
Yeah.
Being honest, you know, and maybe some people don't want to say it, you know, but it's true.
No, you know what it is? I think that was in Brazil, right?
Yeah.
I think in the States here, it's like a rite of passage. I think it's such a common thing for people. It's not, but is it common in Brazil?
Yeah, it's very common.
Oh, okay. So is it legal there?
No, and it wasn't. Now it's like decriminalized. If you get caught, you're not going to jail or anything, but it's not legal.
So there's like a certain amount you could have. They'll give you a summons or a ticket or something like that.
Yeah, now, but back then when I started, it was completely illegal.
Oh my God, that's wild. It was here too, but
yeah,
it's interesting.
Yeah,
wow.
we like back then, long hair, young guys, we are always worried about the cops, you know.
Oh, because you guys were like counterculture, sort of.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Cops would go after us. Oh, the long hair guy.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because Brazil was in a dictatorship until 85.
Oh, okay. So you represented a potential threat.
Yeah, it's like the culture. The police in Brazil is militarized. It's called military police.
Okay.
These days, so they have the background of the military, the mind, you know. So, but things changed a little bit in Brazil because they changed the laws.
Mm-hmm.
So if you get caught with, like, under an ounce, or you don't go to jail. Or
yeah, that's wild. Interesting, man. And you're in California. Weed's legal there, I think, right?
Yeah, now it's all good.
2 more questions, man.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me the biggest change in your personality over like the last 10 years, and how much of that change has been intentional on your part and how much has just been a natural part of aging.
I don't know if I thought something through, like, I need to change this or that. I think you change as life happens, you know. And I don't know. I think you grow a little more worried about my career, you know.
Yeah.
A little bit more, especially when I moved back here. Got to kind of restart, you know.
Yeah, that's tough, man.
Our fan base and all this stuff. It's kind of, you know. So before I was more worry-free, you know. I was just doing things, and now I'm always thinking about the future.
Well, it doesn't help with this COVID either, man.
Yeah.
That is like, because all you got to do is sit at home and think.
Yeah, it's like a pause, you know. What I'm doing is I keep writing a lot, you know. I write a lot. Like, I have probably 200 ideas for new songs.
Okay. So you're working on that every day, pretty much?
I'm always writing, and right now I'm finishing an album with Daryl Carrier. But I mentioned him before. He's the harmonic player that plays with me, and now we are recording an album together.
Great.
All original, and I'm really excited about this one. And besides that, I'm writing for my next album too.
That's really cool, man. And you're pretty consistent with that.
Yeah, I think that's what I got. I know that's something I got to offer that I can't put on the table. It's like
yeah. Man, it's better than spending that time on social media bitching about stuff. You know, at
Oh,
least you're
yeah.
doing something productive. I hate to say this. You go on social media, it's toxic now, man. It's like,
Yeah. I agree with you. I stay, my posts are mostly music stuff, and I don't, man, if I do a political post, it's like once in 5 years, you know?
yeah, that's about what it should be, because it's social media. It's right.
Yeah.
That's the thing of it. You want to, I want to see cats or freaking
Yeah.
animals or music. I don't want to see,
Yeah, exactly. So
hate.
yeah, for
I
me, it's
know.
music,
It's
100%.
tough, man. Let me ask you this. What, you've mostly play around Southern California.
Hmm.
Has that been a conscious decision, like to focus on that, or is there a reason you don't come east?
No, there's a reason, because nobody's taking me there. It's like
Okay.
I'm not like complaining or anything, but that's the thing. Like when I moved here, I had to rebuild my fan base and everything. And one thing, when being like a solo artist, it's all on you. So it's like
Yeah.
it's the Celso Salim Band. So if I'm playing some place that's, I need my band to be there, but the place is not paying so well, but I need to do the show because it's a good exposure. So that there goes money out my pocket. So it's not like a full band that we jump in the van and we just go and let's. So it's hard to do sometimes the logistics of it all, you know. But I'm now with this new album with Daryl. Will be more like a joint thing. Would be, I think we will be able to go, because I had offers. You know, I had offers to play in Kentucky, and I had offers to play in Florida. But we gotta make it happen. You know, like
Yeah.
one doesn't take me there. You know, you
No,
gotta,
you need, especially a place like Florida, because it's really big, it's
yeah,
spread out, and
yeah.
you've got to be booked up in all the major cities to make any money at all.
Yeah, that's why. So I'm trying to get there, you know, trying to. But you know, you gotta keep doing it, you know, and get exposure, you know, and that's, I think at some point will happen, you know.
Man, I'd love to. Put it on your list, man. There's a great venue here. It's called Skippers. It's in
I
Tampa.
know
You
it's
know
on my.
Skippers? Yeah, man, that's perfect for blues. I mean, I've seen so many great blues artists there so many over the years, like
Nice, nice.
Hot Tuna, Buddy Guy played there years ago. Who was this guy? He died right after. You ever heard of this guy, Michael Burks?
I heard of him, but I don't know much.
Oh my God. He was just kind of like like physically a big guy, like Albert King, he looked like, and what a soulful guy. And
Nice.
we saw him at Skippers, and I was with my son. It's probably 10 years ago. And, Skippers the kind of place like you could talk to the artist. It's, it
Yeah,
holds probably, I don't know, 400 people, but it's very intimate. And, sorry. Yeah. What were you saying?
no, yeah. Go ahead.
And I remember turning around to my son. I said, Nick, this is the last time this guy's going to be playing these arenas. This guy's awesome. And then 3 weeks later, he walks off a plane in Atlanta and drops dead. I couldn't believe it. I was like,
Oh man, yeah.
it was terrible, man. But anyway, that's just a good place. I'm glad that's on your list, because that's the perfect place for you to play. You do well there, I think.
Yeah, I have my wish list of places, you know, but in time it will happen, I guess.
That would be awesome, and I'd love to see you here. And the last question: what's the most important lesson life has taught you?
Oh man, you go deep. No, I think it's to preserve your friends and family. You know, like I think that's very important. You know.
Yeah, man, I agree with you there. I'm just gonna write that down. It's a nice answer. Let me just tell people where to find you. It's Celso Salim. Again, it's CELSO. I'll tell you right now, I've checked out Celso's last two. I listened to a bunch of stuff online, but his last two records, To the End of Time and Mama's Hometown, they're great records. And I really love To the End of Time. His voice is amazing. His vibe is really good. Like I said, to me, it's like old, authentic Chicago blues. So if you're like a real blues, yeah, man, if you're like a real blues fan like I am, you're gonna love his music. Tell you a few places to hook up with him. His website, it's pretty robust. Celso Salim, CELSOSALIM.com, and he's got pretty much everything on there. Also, connect with him on YouTube at Celso Salim, and Instagram at Celso Salim Band. And are you on Facebook? You have a Facebook page?
Yeah, Facebook, Celso Salim Band as well.
Great, Celso Salim Band. Also, if you are interested in working with Celso and taking some lessons, if you're a blues guy, this is a guy you want to connect with. There's a contact tab on his website. Just reach out to him there. Let him know what you're doing guitar-wise and what you like about his music, so he could respond to you. And he's open to working with people of all levels. And also, if you're interested in having him help you do some tracks, do the same thing. Go to his website, Celso Salim, and message him on the contact tab there. Tell him you heard about him here and you liked it and you want to work with him. Man, is there anything else? I feel like I want to promote more stuff for you because I really like your music. Is there anything else? Anything else we could? And hey, man, Celso's cooking with Celso. I think.
Yeah, cooking with Celso. That's a good idea.
I'm telling you, bro. Yeah, and then you can have your music playing in the back.
Yeah.
So it's like a subliminal pitch, and then you could have, today we're going to listen to this track off of this CD. So it's like,
yeah.
And I tell you, it'd be great because I could tell by your enthusiasm, you really enjoy cooking, man. Like when you talked about it, you lit up.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
yeah,
but
I really do. I really do, actually.
That comes across. So other, especially that you have a niche. It's not like, one day we're making Mexican food and you're special. And there's tons of people that want to cook Brazil. I mean, I can't cook, but if I did, I'd love to cook Brazilian food. But yeah, man, cooking with Celso, I'm telling you, that's it.
I'm gonna work on this one.
Hey, man, I really appreciate you coming on the show. It was great meeting you. Thank you for your time. I love your music. I wish you nothing but continued success. When your new album comes out, if you want to come back on the show and we could talk about it and turn people onto it, man, doors open. Please do that.
Yeah, it sounds good. Thank you so much for having me, Craig. It was a real pleasure, man.
My pleasure, man. Thank you. Everybody, thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this, please share it on your social media channels. We appreciate your support. Please check out Celso Salim at celsosalim.com. Again, it's CELSOSALIM. And follow him on all his socials. And follow his new cooking channel, Cooking with Celso. That I'm telling you, and most important, man, especially nowadays, please remember that happiness really is a choice. So choose wisely. Be nice, go play your guitar, and have fun. Till next time, peace and love, everybody. I am out. Thank you so much, brother.
Thank you. Have a good one.